Welcome to Ask the Experts from Maverick Publishing. I'm Dave Withrow, publisher of American Bagger, Urban Bagger, and American Cycle magazines. With me is Jason Mook, the tech editor of all three Maverick titles. We got an interesting question this week. Jimmy from Las Vegas, Nevada, Stay Strong Vegas. He's one of the rare millennials with a bagger. He says none of his buddies that he rides with have baggers. They've all got the Sportsters and the Dynas and the FXRs and the shovels. So he's a bagger convert, but every year when he rides from Vegas to Sturgis, when he gets about 80 miles an hour, he has a wobble up front. And he said he put a 21 on it and a 19 on the back. And
A what?
a 19, which I've never heard of anybody putting on there. He said he put an RSD wheel, and he was adamant that it was a 19. So either one, he doesn't know that it's really an 18 or a 17 or a 16, but to me, anything you do in the back affects the front, and anything you do in the front affects the back. So,
Agreed.
so he's got this wobble that nobody can figure out, and he's tired of spending money on people telling him they can't figure it out. So we'll take him at face value and say it's a 19-inch wheel, and the first thing I'd say is get rid of the 19 and get a 18, a 16, or 17.
Yeah, motorcycles overall, and there's a few exceptions, are meant to be operated on a 26-inch overall diameter wheel and tire combination. Meaning, if you have a 16-inch wheel, you're going to have more sidewall on your tire. If you have an 18-inch wheel, which is bigger, you're going to have less sidewall. But overall, they should be about the same. I mean, that's, like I said, there's been changes the last couple of years, but that's what's designed to operate. There's a lot of things that could be causing that up front, but yes, my first recommendation is go back to either a 16. We've seen 16s, 17s, 18s all handle fine on the back end. Some guys, and again, there's a noticeable difference. Guys will put a 200 on an 18-inch rim on the back of the bike as opposed to the 180 on a 16. But I'd get back to there first, and then a big thing we've seen a lot weird this year or something, and maybe it's just because of the age of the newer frames, but it's neck bearing. Neck bearing adjustment is huge, and you can't discount. Start off with simple tire pressure. Make sure you have the correct tire pressure. It's amazing how many bikes we've had come in the shop, and I air up the tires, and the guy takes off. He comes back. He says, "My gosh, my front end handles so much better. What did you do?" And I said, "Well, I've added more than the 12 pounds of air pressure you had in the front wheel." So.
Well, let's go back to neck bearings because, and I think as this series goes on, we're going to have a lot more maintenance questions because when the Evo got bulletproof, and then we had the twin cam, extremely bulletproof, and now we're on the Milwaukee 8. I think the day of the weekend mechanic ended, and these guys now treat it just like they do with their $70,000 SUV or pickup. They just assume that somebody else took care of it and assume it's bulletproof, but neck bearings, like you said, we're seeing a lot more of these. How often should they make sure they're tightened down?
On the 2008 and earlier frames, which basically kind of go back to about 1980, the first neck bearing check / adjustment is at 10,000 miles. When the 2009 and later frames came out, before we went to the 14 with the 49 millimeter front end, they said that at first at 10,000 miles, initially they said to inspect. Well, quickly learned, there was a bulletin came out and whatnot, they quickly learned that you had to do an adjustment at 10,000 miles. And it's not that difficult to do. It's step by step, in the service manual. You gotta, what you're looking for, know what to loosen, what to tighten. When you put it all back together, what to tighten up and torque. But I would say at a minimum, 10,000 miles is where you need to, if you're buying a brand new bike from there.
And if you're buying a used bike, just assume that nobody did it just like any of the maintenance. So
absolutely.
Get a baseline and start from there. The other thing about so Jimmy's got a 21 up front, what did he do to adjust for that new axle height up front? Did he put a lowering kit? Did he put rake trees in it? Did he do any of that? Or did he just run it straight? So that'd be another thing that I'd look at. And one thing that hit me is shock height.
Yep.
So if he went that much taller on his back wheel, did he use the same? Is he running 12s? Is he running 13s? Did he switch to air? What did he do for his rear suspension? Because as we said, what you do in the back affects the front.
Yeah, excellent points. I mean, we got to look at the total picture here. I mean, we got to see these motorcycles are meant to operate with a certain combination, you know, of everything, whether it be suspension, wheels, tires, so on and so forth. And changing one thing can make a big difference, as we've seen.
So Jimmy in Vegas, hope we answered your question. I think we gave you 5 good things to look at. And man, that 19 though, that'd be the first thing. That's the smoking gun, but I think all of those things need to be checked as well. So this episode of Ask the Experts was brought to our friends at Geico. Give them 15 minutes and they'll save you 15%. So geico.com. Thanks.